All right, everybody, we're getting started. Please take your seats. Welcome to the 5,410th meeting of this Rotary Club. And thank you, everybody, for coming early for table topics today. We had a large group show up, and it was so fun. And I got to tell you, table 2, where I was seated, we had some stories where statute of limitations had passed, and there was a theme of nudity. It was really strange, but really awesome all at once. Who knew? But anyway, and Kirk Wallachevich, our Red Badger, he is an accountant, but he was so committed to being here, to getting to know all of you better. He's here, so thank you. And Pat Riley and Doug Smith, what a brilliant idea bringing us all together. It really, really was fun, and we will be doing it the second Wednesday of every month. So please be sure to make time and mark your calendars. Nicholas Adams, come sing. Please, please.
Yes, ma'am. Would you please all join and stand and join me in God Bless America? Sorry, this microphone is a little muffled here. Yeah, a little feedback. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam, God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. You're all in very good voice today. Thank you.
You know, as I listen to, all right guys, settle down please. As I listen to all of us sing and rejoice in being Americans and celebrating the freedom that our military has fought so hard for us to retain, I would be remiss if I didn't call for a moment of silence to honor the victims and the people suffering through the Israeli-Hamas war. So please take a moment of silence with me. And to our Jewish family members, our hearts are with you, our prayers are with you, and I know that my family has been impacted because Evan, the first gentleman, he is Jewish, he has family residing in Israel, and one of his distant cousins is missing and presumed either dead or a prisoner of war. So please be kind to everybody, be gentle, and know that everybody is suffering in some way. And now I'm going to very quickly pivot to more happy things, which can sometimes be difficult to do. But I want to say thank you again to our IT team and our photography team for the beautiful video really showing the joy of last week's meeting and all of the events. And a special thank you to Jason Kazarian, our Red Badger, who has committed to developing these videos on a weekly basis. And to our Zoomer, yes. And to our Zoomers, please come home, please come back. We miss you. You want to be a part of this fun. We're enjoying each other so much, and you never know what you're going to learn from your table mates. So a big thank you to our greeting line today, Pause to Consider, co-chaired by Lisa Riegel and Brenda Sweeney. We really appreciate you being here. And we've got birthdays this week, none today, but again, if you see any of these people, please wish them a warm, happy birthday. Tell them how happy you are to know them and celebrate that success, because what we know is social support matters. Making meaningful connections matter to our overall health and psychological well-being. And now, time for guest introductions. For our Red Badgers with traveling mics, Kelly Dipple and Lauren Edwards, please stand and introduce yourselves. And a gentle reminder of the change in process that we've had. If you are a visiting Rotarian or if you have a guest, please stand and we're going to work our way around the room clockwise. Kelly.
Hello, thank you. I'm Kelly Dipple. I'm a Red Badger. Sarju Naran offered me this fabulous experience with Rotary. So thank you so much.
And thank you, Lauren.
Good afternoon, President Karen. Lauren Edwards. I am a local attorney, and my sponsor is Ed Korea.
All right, Ed. Okay, we have somebody visiting here. Kelly? Take him the microphone, please. Jason?
Hello, President Karen. In the spirit of We Are Family, allow me to introduce the elder of my two sisters, Debbie Gallia.
All right. Welcome, Debbie.
And the embarrassing story is she's the only one who had gumption to send me black balloons for my 50th.
Oh, that was cruel. President Bryan.
Madam President, it's a pleasure for me to introduce my guest. Kim Hill is a professor at Santa Clara University and is the chair of the Theater and Dance Department. Please welcome Kim.
And Kim is going to be with us next week as well for the Lee Weimers Awards. Oh, here we go. All right. Leslie.
Hi, Leslie Guardino. I'm a Red Badger. Rod Dierdon is my sponsor. And this is my friend and colleague, Tolga Akgar. He is vice president at WebCorps.
Welcome.
President Karen, Larry Donatoni,
Hi, Larry.
University Relations from Santa Clara University. It's my honor today to introduce several guests that I brought with us. We have Ed Greer, who is the Dean of the Levy School of Business. We have Jim Lyons, who is the Vice President of University Relations for the university. We have Deepa Arora, who is the Senior Director for Communications and Marketing. We have Lawrence Lockman, who is the Vice President for Marketing and Communications. And we have Kelly Beals, who is the I just promoted you. My boss, the Assistant Director for Individual Giving for the university.
A very warm welcome to all of you. Kai, Catherine has a guest. Catherine? Oh, there's a mic back there. Okay.
Do you want me to go?
Yes, please.
President Karen, Steve Borkenhagen, thank you. Pat Riley and I have a guest today, Avery Lyford. He's a member of the Belmont and Redwood Shores Club and a new friend of Pat's and mine.
Oh, welcome. Wonderful.
Good afternoon, President Karen. It's Catherine Tompkison. It's my pleasure to introduce a guest that we all know and love, Johnny Camus.
Woohoo! And not a guest for long, if my intel is correct. All right, that concludes our introductions. Welcome, everybody. Have I told you today how much I love being president and how much I enjoy all of you? Thank you again. And now I invite my dear friend, yay, Anna Rudell up for our mindfulness moment. She always makes me feel more calm, her mere presence. It's glorious. I love you.
Bodhipaksa, a Tibetan Buddhist author and professor, said this about concentration. Concentration allows us to really enjoy what we're doing, whether it's being in the country or reading in a book, writing or talking or thinking. Concentration allows us to think more clearly and deeply. When you first start practicing, you may find the mind wandering quite a bit. Concentration practice helps you train the mind to focus by giving it something to do. Like mindfulness, this takes time. When the mind wanders, you bring it back. Over time, the mind will learn to focus and let go of distracting thoughts on its own. Find a comfortable position, sitting in a chair or on a cushion, but we're not doing that. Straighten the spine and allow the muscles to relax. Briefly check in with your body. Allow your shoulders to drop. Soften the muscles of the abdomen and invite in relaxation. Notice where you can feel the breath in the body. It may be in the abdomen, the chest, or the nostrils. For now, pick one place where you can feel the breath most easily. Rest with the sensations of the breath in this one spot. Begin counting the breaths with awareness. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Remember that counting serves as an aid to practice, giving the mind something extra on which to focus. It's not a competition or measurement of how well you are doing. When the mind wanders, just come back to the breath. Continue with your day, noticing when your mind is focused or wandering. Gently open your eyes, and I'll hand you back to Karen.
Let me just show you a quick slide here. She has this wonderful slide also to remind us of how improved focus is correlated with productivity. But Anna, I didn't have to soften my stomach too much, unfortunately, but the deep breaths felt really great, so thank you for that. And now it's that delightful time in the program where we're going to introduce a new member. So Ron Zrajek, please introduce Nicole. By the way, I had the delightful opportunity to spend a significant amount of time with Nicole at the Military Care Mixer a few weeks ago, and I think you'll all find her to be a wonderful new addition to our family and somebody who's improving the community every day.
Thank you, Madam President. It's my privilege to introduce Nicole Eckler. She is a Colorado native, but grew up in San Jose, attending our very own Notre Dame High School right here in downtown. She's currently membership director at the Silicon Valley Capital Club, but it has had a breadth of leadership experience across multiple industries, including death care, education, fitness, food and beverage, nonprofit, sports, retail, and tech. Nicole graduated from Colorado State with a bachelor's degree and has a master's degree in nonprofit management from Regis University, a Jesuit institution located in Denver. I knew somebody would appreciate that. Nicole's passion is to make a difference in people's daily lives through genuine connection and elevated experiences. And I know personally, when I was chairing a council at the Capitol Club, when Nicole joined the club and helped me and others organize their councils, it made the world a difference. So I can attest to that personally. Outside of work, Nicole enjoys sporting events, working out, music, and traveling, getting back to Colorado as often as she can to visit family and friends. Nicole is a doggy mom of a little terrier mix named Oliver, or Ollie for short, and is a proud auntie to her niece, Aubrey. Please help me welcome Nicole to our club.
Good job, Nicole. And you've got a minute.
Thank you, everybody. I see a lot of familiar faces out there from the Capitol Club, and I've enjoyed connecting with all of you on a deeper level here, and I look forward to connecting with the rest of you here on a deeper level while serving the community of San Jose. Ron basically said everything I was going to say, but I'll say go Niners and go Notre Dame.
There you go. All right. That's a great way. Oh, I think we need to do a picture? Sure. Someday, guys. I'm only 4 months in. I'll get a hang of this. Great, thank you. And now I'd like to invite Lisa Riegel up to talk about a Pause to Consider event. Nicole, mark your calendar because you can bring Ollie to this. Come on up.
Hello there, Lisa with the Pause Committee, and in keeping with the theme of We Are Family, we thought it would be fun to plan an event that everybody can participate in the club. It is going to be a pack walk scheduled for Saturday, October the 28th at 10 a.m. We'll be meeting at Vasona Park. And because it's so close to Halloween, we thought it might be fun to try out your Halloween costumes. And your grandkids, your kids can, if they're anything like me, when I got my Halloween costume as a kid, I didn't take it off all the way to Halloween. So it's a good chance for them to try it on for size. And if you don't have a dog, don't worry. I have 2. You can borrow one of mine. Other people have more than one. You don't even have to have a pet. We just want you to come and participate. It's going to be a walk. It's not a hike. It takes about an hour around the lake. And we hope that everybody will be able to participate and bring the kids and the grandkids. There's a flyer on your table with all the details in the meeting spot. Hope you can join us. Thanks.
Great. So you know I have to drop a little bit of data. Research has actually shown that simply petting an animal reduces the stress hormone cortisol. Cortisol is responsible in large part for the weight gain we get around our middles when we're very stressed. In addition, bonding with a pet has been shown to release the feel-good hormone, oxytocin, which is the chemical that bonds mothers to new babies. So if you're ever feeling a little bit of stress, reach out to your four-legged furry friend because they can help reduce that. And for those who know me, my family and I adopted a little 9-year-old terrier Chihuahua mix in 2019. She has enriched our lives so much, and she loves the three of us, but she's a nasty little thing to other people and tries to attack Great Danes. She thinks she's much bigger than she is, but God, she's wonderful. Lenore, come on up and tell us about the Thanksgiving program.
Fellow Rotarians, do you have gratitude? Are you thankful for something you'd like to share with us? Well, we'd like to hear about it. And the Bob Keeve Thanksgiving program is coming up on November 15th. So if you'd like to participate, we're open to participants. Please grab me, email me, talk to me at a meeting, or call me. If you have questions, reach out and ask away. But we'd love to hear from you. That's November 15th. Thank you.
And when should they submit by? 2 minutes,
Well,
right?
she's asking when you should submit by, but what happens is once I know you're interested, I will send you the instructions written by my dad, Bob Keeve himself. So we'll keep his tradition very much in line. And I think she kind of caught me off guard. I think it's a week before the program that we take the scripts, but I'll tell you all that once you tell me you're interested. Thank you.
And thank you for continuing to honor your dad's legacy. We continue to miss him dearly. And for those of you who maybe have not experienced the Thanksgiving program, it's one of the most emotionally rich and engaging events of the entire year. You get insight into what really drives and motivates people. There's laughter, there's tears, there's deep connection. So please be sure to be at that meeting. Now, a couple of president announcements. Don't forget, we have the family-friendly Rancho Robin Rescue event coming up. It's going to be on Tuesday, October 17th, from 5 to 8 p.m. There'll be light snacks, but we encourage you to bring your own wine. Get it? Wine, refreshments, things of this nature. Play with the animals. It's going to be wonderful. Please RSVP using the email provided on the flyer on your tables. But it'll be a great event, one you're sure not going to want to miss. And a reminder, very, very important. Next week is the Lee Weimers program. It is happening at the Hammer Theater. 2 things, and there's been some confusion, so I want to be super clear. Attendance requires an RSVP because space is limited, but that is separate and individual from ordering your lunch. So if you'd like to enjoy lunch at the Hammer Theater, please use the link that's always provided that you use every other week to order that. But don't forget to be there. It's a wonderful event. And Jeff, nice to see you. I see you're back today. And then the International Feast happened on October 6th. It was a tremendous success. You might have seen some of these pictures in the opening slideshow, but here's a collage. It was a wonderful fundraiser, enjoyed by all, and I'll tell you what, I sure missed it. I was traveling for business, but when I saw those photos, it pulled at my heartstrings. So thanks to everybody for putting that on and for participating. And then a couple of other light announcements. Our Climate Action Committee is going to be hosting a lithium-ion battery recycling event on Saturday, October 21st from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at 2 separate locations, Westminster Church or Presentation High School, pardon me. Mark McKenna has placed flyers on the table, and he will also be in the lobby taking sign-ups. So far, Kai Kai and my family have signed up, and we hope you all will join us. It's a tremendous event, and of course, climate action is one of the 7 global initiatives that Rotary International really focuses on. So we hope to see you there. And then a reminder about the survey. The executive chefs really would appreciate you completing a very short survey to help them guide decision makings for future barbecues and for the holiday lunch. Remember, in the absence of data, we can't align decisions or dollars. So please take a moment to complete that survey. Also, Catherine Tompkinson, I saw you put a flyer on the table for the military parade, which will be on Saturday, November 11th. Take a look. Spots on the trolley are limited, so be sure to claim your spot in advance. And then something super, super exciting happened yesterday that I want to share with you because I think it's a reflection on our club and our commitment to climate change. And Mark, you don't even know this yet, but the Assistant District Governor in District 5130 has been working with the United Nations Climate Change Conference that will be held in Dubai in December to have a booth in the blue zone and the green zone representing Rotary International and our initiatives. They decided they needed a transportation speaker, since transportation is the largest contributor to greenhouse gases emissions, and they invited me, all expenses paid, it won't have an impact on our budget, don't worry, to represent this club as the president, but also as a transportation executive. So I will miss you. I think it's going to be great. And guess what? I'm taking my dad, so we're going to go together. My dad is the president of his South Ukiah Rotary Club, which has 38 members. We're the 9th largest club in the world. So it's going to be a great time. President-elect Heather Lerner will be leading the meeting on December 6th, so you'll be in great hands with a lot of energy. So thanks to all for the support, and let me invite our speaker up now to be introduced. Please come on up. Jim Lyons. We're actually a little... Believe it or not, brace yourself. We're a little early, so we can take a deep breath and think of your questions, because we'll have time for them.
Thank you, Karen. Julie Sullivan is the 30th president of Santa Clara University. She is both the first layperson and the first woman president in the university's 173-year history. A visionary academic leader, President Sullivan is a passionate champion for the tenets of Catholic social teaching, including creating opportunities and economic inclusion through education. Prior to joining Santa Clara, President Sullivan served as president of the University of St. Thomas in Minnesota for 9 years, where she was highly regarded for her leadership in creating innovative academic programs supporting student well-being and success and increasing the visibility and reputation of the university. While at St. Thomas, President Sullivan launched the Doherty Family College as a pathway towards a bachelor's degree for underserved students, raised more than $100 million in new scholarships, and completed the university's transition from Division III to Division I athletics. She also, on top of that, established a new school of nursing and the Morrison Family College of Health. President Sullivan's higher education experience also includes serving as executive vice president and provost at the University of San Diego, and as a professor of business and accounting at the University of California, San Diego, and the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill. In addition to the nonprofit work she does, President Sullivan has 19 cumulative years of public company board service and 15 years of private company board service, spanning a number of industries. Most recently, she served on the boards of Loyola University Chicago, Catholic Charities of St. Paul in Minnesota, and the Association of Catholic Colleges and Universities, among many, many others. A native of Florida, President Sullivan is a first-generation college graduate with 3 degrees from the University of Florida, a bachelor's degree in accounting, a master's degree in taxation, and a PhD in business. She is a well-known and renowned author and academic. She's also an avid sports fan and dog lover and enjoys exercise, any water activity, traveling with her husband, and family time with their children and grandchildren. Please join me in welcoming to the San Jose Rotary the remarkable president of Santa Clara University, Julie Sullivan.
Thank you, Jim, and thank you to all of you for having me here today. I was sitting here reminiscing. The first time I spoke to a Rotary Club was very different than today. It was in 1975. I was a senior in high school. The Rotary Club was the Rotary Club of Live Oak, Florida, which has 10,000 people in it, so you can imagine how many people were in the Rotary Club. It was all male, and I was there to accept a $5,000 scholarship to help fund my college education. It was awesome. And $5,000 in 1975 was very, very significant. So I have a special place in my heart for the Rotary organization, obviously. But thank you for the warm welcome that I've received today, which was similar to my first experience with the Rotary Club. And I've had the opportunity to speak at Rotary Clubs around the country throughout my career, but thank you very much. I also want to thank my Santa Clara colleagues for being here today. And there are many people that have introduced themselves as not only Bronco employees, but also Bronco parents and Bronco alumni. And I feel like it's a friendly audience between the Rotarians and the Rotarians and the Broncos. So thank you very much. I'm going to talk about two things. First is a little bit about myself. Who am I and why did I come to Santa Clara University? I came, by the way, a little over a year ago, July 1st, 2022. And then the second part of my talk will really focus on opportunities and challenges in higher education more broadly. And I'm going to speak about access and affordability, college athletics, and the return on investment of pursuing a four-year college degree. So who am I? You know, when I had to write a self-reflection essay on a book that was recently published about women leaders in Catholic organizations. And I started that book because the first question you had to answer is, who am I? I'm a teacher. That is my vocation. And it's been my vocation all of my life, even though I didn't always know it in different points of my life. As a child, I had one sibling, a younger brother. And as a child, I didn't play house, I didn't play doctor, I didn't play church, I played school. And of course, I was the teacher and my younger brother was a student, much to his chagrin. And then I went to school. And ever since I started kindergarten, my life has revolved around the academic calendar. I have either been in school or working at a university. And there are various points in my life that are most poignant to me in understanding my vocation. Early in my life, there were two things that happened when I was in 7th grade. The first one was my family moved from Jacksonville, Florida to Live Oak, Florida at the end of 6th grade. And those were two very different communities. Jacksonville was kind of a large spread out city, and Live Oak was a very small rural community. So I'm in 7th grade, and I was a little ahead in math based on the school I had gone to before. And so the math teacher says, well, I'm going to give you this math book, and you just sit. 7th grade, we changed classes. It was our first time we changed classes. She said, when you come to math class, just sit in the back, work in this book, and when you get to the end of a chapter, let me know, and I'll give you a test. Fine. So we did that. And then it was Christmas time, and I gave her back the book, and I said, I finished the book. What would you like me to do? Very wise woman. Her name was Mrs. Clifton. She said, you don't need to learn any more math. I'm like, oh, okay. That's okay with me. She said, but during this same class period, the social studies teacher meets, and he's actually teaching remedial reading. And I would like you for the rest of the year to go to his classroom and help him teach those students. And I did for the rest of the year. And I was shocked to learn there were students my age still reading 1st through 3rd level grade books. But I developed relationships with those students, and I read to them, and they read to me, and it was wonderful. And then this same teacher, he taught Head Start in the summer. So he invited me to join him as his teaching assistant at Head Start. And it was wonderful. And again, I had some very poignant experiences. The one I recall most, my memory is very vivid, so I remember in pictures. A young boy, the first day, it was snack time, and I handed him a banana. And he looked at it, and he turned it over, and he looked at it this way, and he looked at it that way, and he handed it back to me. He had never seen a banana, and he didn't understand how you would eat it. And I thought, education is so important. And throughout my life, I have felt that way. I've either wanted to be a learner, I've wanted to be a teacher, or I've wanted to be both. I finally did rediscover, as I was going through college, I did an undergraduate degree in accounting, I went on to get my master's degree in tax, but during my master's program, to support myself, I taught. I was a teaching assistant for the introductory accounting courses. And I said, I'm not going to practice, I'm going to teach. And I stayed for my PhD, and I started working at universities. So I'm a teacher and a learner. That's why I never leave universities. So why did I come to Santa Clara University about 14 months ago? Well, I was very happy at the university where I was. And a lot of things were happening. I had some deep relationships. I felt very loyal to the community. It was a very engaged business community. They were engaged with one another, and they were engaged with the education sectors and other sectors in Minneapolis and St. Paul. But I came to Santa Clara University for 3 reasons. The first one is I had worked at 2 Catholic universities, but I had not worked at a Jesuit university. I'd been on the board of Loyola University Chicago, which is a Jesuit university, and I really became just enamored, really almost, with the Jesuit tradition and values and Ignatian spirituality. And it wasn't as much on the social justice pieces of it, because that was very much a part of Catholic social teaching that was embraced in the other Catholic universities where I was. It was really about the Ignatian spirituality and the notion of letting go of your life and trusting God to be in charge of every aspect to it, and the moments of reflection. And so I loved our mindfulness moment just now, and how really reflection is just an important part of really stopping and letting our thoughts and our mind be guided and hearing. So I came because it's a Jesuit university. The second reason I came is the university's commitment to excellence. Commitment to excellence in everything we do. And, you know, commitment to excellence obviously in academics, because that's what we are about, but in athletics and in our operations and in everything we do. And the third reason was the location. I have been a business school professor for many years, and I've started a lot of entrepreneurial programs, and I've overseen a lot of entrepreneurial programs. I've been very involved with the external business community during my time as a professor. And I thought, I could move to Silicon Valley. I could move to the most innovative community in the world and interact with that innovation and entrepreneurial and business ecosystem. So that's why I came. I tell you what I've loved most, and then we're going to talk about challenges in higher ed. What I have loved most is those things, plus the way the relationships at Santa Clara that are formed there, whether it's between our employees and our students, our alumni, our parents, the relationships that are formed are deep, and they last a lifetime. And that's what I didn't know about when I selected to come, but what I've learned most about during my first year. So I've been in higher ed a long, long time, as you probably can discern if you put some of these pieces together about my career. And we've always had challenges in higher ed. You know, but right now, there are some challenges that really stick out. The access and affordability challenge is very, very important. And higher ed, rightfully so, is being called to be more responsible for adding to the social mobility in our country and for providing the education that strengthens the democracy in our country. And we should be held responsible for that. Regardless of whether we're public, private, faith-based, non-faith-based, we should be held responsible for that. And so access and affordability is on all of our minds. At the prior institution where I was, and also at Santa Clara, I've joined something called the American Talent Initiative. And it's a collection of about 100 universities in the country, private and public, who all are committed to enrolling and graduating more low and middle income students, and in particular, Pell eligible and first generation students. And you can only be invited to join this group. It's actually funded by Michael Bloomberg in New York, and it's actually operated by the Aspen Institute, a nonprofit. You can only be invited to join the group as a university if you have the commitment to graduate more low and middle income students, and you demonstrate that commitment, and you're a university that has a high retention and graduation rate. Because they're very concerned that these students are having the opportunity to attend more universities that have a demonstrated record of graduating them and leading them into a life of success. So at Santa Clara, as in most universities today, we're working very hard to really increase the socioeconomic diversity of our student body and ensure their success. The second thing I'm going to talk about, quite different, college athletics. College athletics is in a state of disarray that I have never seen in my entire lifetime. And I am an avid sports fan and an avid college sports fan. In fact, you might have noticed that I grew up in Jacksonville and Live Oak, and I have 3 degrees from the University of Florida. So my family claps like that. So, but college athletics today is really becoming bifurcated, and it's becoming almost a semi-pro organization, and one in the largest schools that are members of what are now the Big Four conferences. And those are becoming semi-pro teams, particularly in football and basketball. And the rest of college athletics is trying to deal with a set of rules and regulations and dynamics that are really very difficult in our programs that are about student athletes. So we have name, image, and likeness. Now, at its core, name, image, and likeness is not a bad thing. At its core, it basically says that student athletes can promote products and be paid for it. Well, students can promote products and be paid for it. And most of this promotion happens in social media. So our students who are not student athletes can engage in social media by generating likes for organizations or products, and they can get paid. So now our student athletes can do that. But the problem is your alumni and your boosters and your coaches get involved, and then it is, the student athlete is deciding to go to which program that can, quote, promise the most lucrative name, image, and likeness deal. We have to engage in name, image, and likeness because it's a law that we allow our student athletes to do it. But it's something that you try to do, and you try to keep respectful and clean, and you kind of hold your nose, to be honest. At least that's how I view it. And then we have the conference realignments. I don't think that the regents of the University of California system had any idea they were going to wake up one morning and UCLA was going to be a part of the Big Ten. And they're not happy about that. And, we've seen massive realignments. We're continuing to see that. Like you say, we're creating these conferences of 20, 25 big schools, and then the other conferences are shuffling. Well, Santa Clara happens to be in the West Coast Conference. We're not immune to this either. So if you read USA Today yesterday, there was an article about Gonzaga leaving the West Coast Conference and going to the Big 12. Gonzaga is a Jesuit university in Spokane, Washington, with less than 10,000 students that's going to go to the Big 12 with Kansas, Kansas State, Houston. But it's being driven by media money, in this case basketball, in other cases basketball and football. Basketball, football, or both. So the WCC is looking at adding members, the conference that we're in. Right now, we're a very homogeneous conference, primarily private schools on the West Coast. Some of the schools we're talking about fit that model, some don't fit it at all. And what's going to happen? Because you have to have a certain number of members to get invitations to NIT and NCAA tournaments and to recruit players. And so I don't know where all of this is going to end. It's either going to end in a big train wreck and we'll all resort ourselves back into something more sensible, or it's going to end in we're just going to have bifurcated college athletics. We're going to have what is essentially semi-pro, and the rest of us are going to try to figure out how to have competitive college athletics and pay for it. Because let me tell you, college athletics does not make money anywhere except on some of those select campuses in those big four conferences. It loses money. The university is spending operating dollars on college athletics. I generally think that's actually warranted if it's a real student-athlete experience, where that student, through being a student-athlete, is gaining skills, life skills of collaboration, teamwork, discipline, communication. If it's a part of their education, that's fine. But it's becoming two different things, and I'm not sure where it's going to all end up. And the last thing I want to talk about in terms of higher education is there's been some new laws passed, or regulations, I guess, passed by the Department of Education in the last 2 weeks. And it's really creating all kinds of issues about private and public, not-for-profit, for-profit universities are having to fill out lots of paperwork to basically show that the average earnings of the graduates of each individual program in their university warrant the average debt that those students might take out that are in that program. Now, that's not a bad idea. We should be concerned that we're not overburdening students with debt, that they have an idea if they make an investment in an education, whether it's undergrad or graduate, that they understand what the monetary payoff is. We all, at least in higher ed, want to believe there's a lot more than a monetary payoff, but particularly if you're in Jesuit higher ed. But that should be transparent, but it's going to create enormous paperwork for everyone. Now, this is already measured at a big scale. And people are paying more attention to these numbers. So there's something called PayScale, which is an organization that's been operating for at least 5 years. And they survey all of the bachelor's graduates as a group right after they leave each university and then 10 years out. So they published their results yesterday, ranked all of the universities in the country by the median income of their graduates 10 years out. And I'm proud to say there are 3 universities from California in the top 10. There are 2 from this area, and 1 is Santa Clara. So Stanford, you might have thought, might have been one of the 2. Stanford's number 5, and the average median income or salary of their graduates 10 years out is $177,500. Harvey Mudd is the other California university in the top 10. Their average salary 10 years out is $179,600. And Santa Clara was number 9, and ours is $173,100. But there's a lot of schools in this ranking that you would expect, like Princeton, MIT, Stanford, University of Penn, that are in the top 10. But there's also schools like Santa Clara, like Colgate, like the U.S. Naval Academy, like Harvey Mudd, that are much smaller. So it's really kind of interesting to see. But we're going to be held increasingly accountable for what students do after they leave, And we should be, but I hope we will measure that a little more holistically. I'm glad we at least measure it 10 years out and not 1 year out. And by the debt burden of our students. And I'm pleased to say that Santa Clara's, the average debt burden of our students that have debt is under $20,000, it's $19,100. My kind of barometer, I've been at different schools that have had different averages. It should always be lower than the cost of a car for a middle-income person. So I'm pleased that Santa Clara's is well lower than that, but I think that should be the standard. So anyway, my reflections on higher ed, why I'm here, who I am, I'm delighted to answer your questions. Thank you.
Thank you. And we always monitor. I get text messages from questions from our Zoomers, so don't hesitate to be involved. And as a fellow data scientist and someone with a doctorate, I looked up the purchasing power of $5,000 from 1975 and what it is today. What is it? $27,959.11. Go Rotary. All right, who has questions?
Yes, hello, I'm Greg Yoder, a graduate of Santa Clara back in 82. But I have a question on that concept that you brought up about being responsible for the debt they take on, et cetera. You painted it out. And the Santa Clara Foundation and University Foundation and many others have a lot of money that they're doing things with. My question is, how do you feel about student loans, rather than coming from banks, actually come from the foundations of the schools, and they have great incentive to get these people educated, be able to pay things off, as you just described?
You know, I would rather, our endowment is primarily provided by donors, and I would rather try to raise more money from donor scholarships and not have loans at all. And I've been on the board of a public bank. I don't want to be a bank. There's a lot of regulations, even more so than higher ed. But and I think you get into a different relationship with your students. But my highest fundraising priority is scholarships and endowed scholarships.
And Matt, I'll get right to you. And I was so impressed with your board service and your pedigree, and wanted to flag that according to the International Monetary Fund, when women are well represented on boards, there's a 37% increase on return on investment. We must have diversity, we must have inclusion, and we must have a plurality of voices if we're going to succeed. Matt.
You're amazing, by the way. Thank you for being here today. I was really appreciated your learning about your passion for providing access to underserved, first-generation kids. I had the honor of helping start up the Cristo Rey School here on the east side of San Jose and establishing that work-study program. So I saw firsthand the impact of that. But I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit more specifically about what Santa Clara is doing now, and then maybe what your vision is for the future.
Thank you for that question, and thank you for your work with Cristo Rey. I've worked with them in many locations, and they're fabulous. One of the things we're doing, and I will share this with you, is a little bit related. Santa Clara is seeking to become an Hispanic serving institution, and there are some requirements for that. Some of them are enrollment requirements. Other requirements are the wraparound services that you have for your students that identify as Hispanic, and the success that they're having in terms of being retained and graduating, and also the culture and the community of belonging that you're building for them. So we have a Hispanic Serving Institution advisory group that's just been formed. They'll be working for the next 2 years to come up with a plan for how we increase our Hispanic enrollment. We're at about 19% of our undergraduates are Hispanic, and we have to get to 25% to be an HSI or Hispanic Serving Institution. And also to build all those, we have good wraparound services to make sure they are culturally sensitive and that we're building that community of belonging. But about half of the students in California that are graduating from high school today identify as Hispanic, and that's only growing. And so that is one tangible thing, at least with regard to one group of growing population, particularly in this state. In addition, we are concluding a strategic plan that is setting targets for us to increase our number of Pell eligible and first generation students, which then requires money. And we're developing a financial plan where some of that money will come from donors and scholarships, and some of that money will come from reallocations within our operating budget. But it really, and we have a great program called LEAD, which is wraparound services for first generation students, ensuring that we continue to expand that program as we have more first generation students. So some of the tangible things.
Very good. And Karen, I'm going to take a question from Zoom before I come to you. This is from Gay Crawford. Great talk. Do you see effects from recent applicants who endured COVID pandemic? Any thoughts for kids who I see who are having difficulty moving into the college scene?
Oh, definitely. You know, the COVID pandemic impacted kids at all ages, in college, in elementary school, in middle school, and high school. I think after being isolated for a period of time, it's harder to come back into a social environment. It's harder to readjust into social relationships. You also, if you think about what happened during a pandemic and you're thinking about adolescents go through a lot of emotional and social maturity. And they lost a couple of years of that. And sometimes they don't know how to do things that we would expect them to know how to at their age. So we are continuing to see impacts. It's less this year than last year, and I hope it'll be less next year. We're seeing a little bit of impact less this year than last year in their preparedness in certain fundamental skills. You know, a fewer of them being able to go directly into calculus, for example. But I think that's taking math over Zoom wasn't helpful.
Right, I agree with that.
Yeah.
We had some serious learning loss. Karen Fox.
Yes, congratulations, first of all, on being the first layperson and woman president.
Thank you.
I attended Santa Clara as well, undergrad, and it was a fabulous experience, one of the best, really, as well as after work. When I worked, many people went to the MBA nighttime program and was very successful. My question to you is, given that you have such a low debt ratio in comparison to many other schools, how do you manage to do that, given that, you know, tuition I know is not cheap at Santa Clara? It's a lot higher than many of the other schools. You know, would you say it's because of the location where we hire more people, people are getting jobs more, they're graduating on time? What do you attribute that, you know, to?
That's a great question. One is, and it's many factors. So one is focusing more of our financial aid on need and trying to address their financial needs through institutional dollars and scholarship dollars. One is providing a large number of work-study opportunities for students on campus. One is being quite successful in placing students in summer internships. And another, frankly, is we do graduate our students on time. Our four-year graduation rate at Santa Clara is the highest of any university where I've ever been. And the time to graduation really matters in the financial calculus of all of this.
Yep. Excellent. Yes.
Good afternoon. My name is Holly Elkins, and I'm the president at Presentation High School, an all-girls Catholic high school.
Oh,
we're
wonderful.
so glad to have you here and leading Santa Clara. We have lots of students that love to be there. We are in the midst of this moment of our students, of course, with these mental health crisis and really working on access. We're also seeing a real competitive increase, I think, in terms of the toxic achievement culture that we're experiencing. And I think the college rankings, the fact that there's just these handful of lottery schools that our kids are always going after is really creating a very difficult situation for our kids. What we know is that when students are at universities where they have a strong relationship, where they can be a part of a research project, where they have professors that are looking out for them, those relationships that you were talking about earlier, that's what can really make the difference. And I'd just love to hear you share what you're doing at Santa Clara, and if you have any great thoughts that I can share with my parents next week when I'm talking with them on this toxic achievement culture concept that we're thinking about.
You know, I'm glad you're talking to the parents about this, because sometimes I think they contribute to it, unfortunately. And I've been a parent, I'm the grandparent now, and you know, I've probably been guilty of it myself. You know, I think fundamentally every parent wants their child to be happy. And I think if they could step back and think about, where is my child going to be happy? Where is my child going to find his or her, quote, people? And that takes a little while when a student comes to college. I always tell parents, and I did this with my own child, if they get to college and they're lonely and they want to transfer, that is normal. That happens to a lot of students. Tell them fine, and they can make out all the transfer applications they want, but they cannot decide until the end of their freshman year. And 99% of the time, they'll be very happy by that time. It takes some time. But also, give them 2 other pieces of advice. Tell them that their child wants to go, they probably want their child to go to a college or university where people will know them and people will care about them. And then the last piece is, you talked about things that we kind of call high impact practices, which you would understand with your education background. They want their child to go to a college or university where there are things like opportunities for research with their faculty, opportunities for internships, opportunities for experiential learning, opportunities for service immersions, opportunities for global study abroad, those things that transform students. And just tell them to look for those things and to let their students follow their heart, because when students go on tours, they kind of know, probably more than sometimes we as parents know. I'll end with this quickly. I took my daughter on 3 college tours. She graduated from a high school in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. She knew no one in California. We had not moved here. I'm not going to name names of schools. We went to 3 schools. One was a big school. She said, I love the trees here. I'd never go here for undergrad, maybe graduate. We'd been there 5 minutes. I said, well, you know, I just flew across the country, so I'm going to do the tour. We go to another school. It's a very small school. It's a liberal arts focused school. I'm coming here, 5 minutes. I'm coming here. I'm not applying anywhere else. I'm going to apply early. I'm coming here. I'm like, oh, okay. We finally go to another school that was kind of my favorite. No, I'm still going to that second school. I try everything I can at that third school. No, I'm still going to the second school. She applied only to that school. I was having a nervous breakdown. I said, at least apply early. So I said, you know, there's a lot of randomness in where you get in. At least apply early so we can have a backup plan. She applied early. Fortunately, she gets in. She's there. A month in, I want to transfer. All of my friends are on the East Coast. I don't know anybody here. I can't find my people. The people in my dorm party too much. I said the advice I just told you. She still has lifelong friends from that university which she graduated from.
That's a great story, and it talks about the power of goodness of fit and how we really need to listen to what our feelings are. Thank you so much.
Sure. Thank
you.
you
Were just wonderful. President Sullivan, we've made a donation in your honor to Loaves of Visions for your time today. I didn't forget.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. More money from Rotary.
There we go. And so as a Spartan representing San Jose State University, I do have to say, go Spartans! Woo! We are minorities serving in 2 categories. That's Hispanic serving as well as Asian American and Pacific Islander. We focus on a first-generation college population, and we're named the #1 most transformative university in the nation by Money Magazine for graduation rates, loan repayment, and job placement. So we have a similar vision, and it's just wonderful to hear from you today, President Sullivan. Thank you. She's a new Rotarian. Maybe you should consider joining us too. Just a couple of last announcements. Again, another reminder, please RSVP for Lee Weimer's next week. Use a separate link to order your lunch. And if you have any questions, Sarah Klisch is sitting right there and we'd be pleased to answer it. And then I just need to give a shout out to our amazing executive director, Leslie, who has stepped out of the room. But I showed up early today to do some business with her, and a Rotarian came up and had a problem with not receiving the bulletin. And instead of just brushing someone off, She looked at him and said, "May I come to your house to help?" Now that's above and beyond, and that's the power of her Rotarian heart. So Leslie, you're amazing. And in my final thoughts for today, I give credit to Matt Robin, who shared something beautiful with me called Two Sides of Everything. Hate has 4 letters, but so does love. Enemies has 7 letters, but so does friends. Lying has 5 letters, but so does truth. Cry has 3 letters, but so does joy. Negativity has 10 letters, but so does positivity. Life is two-sided. Pick the best of it and make sure you think positive thoughts. Your brain believes what you tell it. Have a great day, friends. We'll see you next week.